Hello everyone and welcome to my channel YNR Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Uncertainty weighed heavily over Genoa city's morning as a low, dark sky hung over the skyline, seemingly reflecting the strain on the Newman family. Sharon Newman walked carefully between the couch and the huge window in the Newman home's living room, gazing out at the street below but finding nothing comforting. She felt her heart racing. Her thoughts were racing. The family's fault line was growing.
Hello everyone and welcome
to my channel.
And her son, everyone is having a wonderful day
with an
please hit the
subscribe button.
Please
and
give
this
strong
video
button
and give this video a thumbs up. This is not an official
episode,
however,
and
the rest
lingered
in
in
her
her
chest like a
Restless.
living creature.
It is a
Today.
fan-generated,
It is
her
a
husband-generated
Newman.
Audra never
Was in a
imagined
stupor.
that
Audra never
wandered
imagined
the
that
corridors
one
like
night would
Newman
make all the
Enterprises
storm
across
raging
town.
inside
The storm
her chest.
raging
He was
inside
torn
her
between
chest.
the sound
Anxiety
of wind
and
banging
sound
against the window pane.
between his
responsibilities
everything
as
everything
stable,
husband
and
under
father
control for a
and
while.
he wondered how
While
for
Noah
a
had been in the kitchen,
while Noah had
making
been in
himself
the kitchen
another cup of
making
coffee,
himself
another
foot of half
Noah's
forgotten
bed in
with
the
half
hospital.
forgotten
Her fingers
she had been
intertwined.
sitting on the sofa,
She had been sitting
watching her daughter
lights
watching
on
her
the
daughter
monitor
play
with a
hours
plush
in
bunny
their
on a
hectic
rug.
lives.
The doctor
In their
had a
hectic
rare moment
lives,
of brain
a
injury
rare
was
moment of shaky
apocalyptic.
serenity that
They
she
had
had
not
serenity
yet
apprehended
almost too good to
perhaps
have driven
Audra
him
had
off
known
the
perhaps
road.
Audra had
Whispered
known
behind
that
closed doors.
that combination
Not
meant
in the
disaster.
city of Genoa.
Not in the
She
city
fought
of
in their
Genoa.
universe.
She
Now.
squeezed
In
her
their
lips
moment
together.
struck like a
The
bolt
moment
of
struck
lightning,
feeling bad
not
for
just
by
any
his
cry,
side,
not just
but
any
she also
cry,
felt bad for
the
not
kind
being
that
stand
Boston
Audra's
harmed
harm
her
daughter
daughter
spoken
Mariah
by her
had been
kid,
spoken
whose
by
own
her
shrill
kid.
panting
Shrill
scream.
panting
She
detested
times
the
seemed to
emotional
collapse
and
in on
times seemed to
itself.
collapse
Adra's
in on
heart
itself.
suddenly.
Adra's heart suddenly
Nick
slid
slid
onto the
sound had
chair
really
next to her.
sound had really registered in
She
her
dropped
head.
the magazine.
She
dropped
didn't
the
have to.
magazine.
She was
The
holding
only
and
sound
ran
when Noah
across
saw
the
the horror,
shop.
when
Her
Noah
face
saw
saw
the horror,
he paled and emerged
he
in that
paled and
quiet.
emerged in
Their
the
daughter's
last
breathing
Sharon
was
daughter's
into
breathing.
his
Her little
eyes.
face contorted
Her
in
little
agony,
face contorted
without
in agony.
hesitation
Her
or preparation.
gripping
At her
tummy.
side,
She described
the bunny
to her
lay
how she had
silent.
been
The bunny lay
conflicted
a
for
silent
having
observer
kids.
of the horror that had
responsibility
just started
had
to
only just
materialize.
started to
While brushing a
materialize.
moist lock of hair off her daughter's
described to
forehead,
him how she had
Audra
been
knelt
overcome
next
by
to her.
panic.
Her hands shaking
wildly.
Her hands shaking
How she was
wildly.
concerned for Noah's
What's wrong,
safety,
baby?
future, in
Sweet
addition to
whispered,
talk to
physical
mom.
health.
Talk
But
to
all
mommy.
she got in return, but all she got in return was feeble grasp of Audra's grasp of Noah hurried over and said,
Noah hurried over
we have
and
to get her
said,
to the hospital.
we have to get her to the
Over
hospital.
Genoa
But
City.
firm
In the
voice,
morning
Audra
light,
couldn't bring
hazy and
herself
pale.
couldn't bring
As if
herself
even
to
the
see.
sky understood
After
that.
that, the world
After
became
that,
vast
the world
flimsy
became
illusion.
hazy.
Audra couldn't recall
Sharon
how she
Newman
managed
couldn't
to
recall
get
how she
automobile
managed
corner
to get the
automobile
automobile
down on
and
her
exit.
chest.
She couldn't recall locking it
couldn't
after
recall
leaving.
locking it after
She
leaving.
simply remembered
She
flat at all.
simply
Not the
remembered
driver
flat
hospital
out.
update. The way
Noah
Noah
drove
drove
like
the
a
way
man
Noah
phone
had dragged her
deeper
hands
and deeper
a
into
child's
her
erratic
anxiety
noise
coming from the
catastrophe
that
coming
rocked
from
the
the
red
red
digits
digits
on the
The red
dashboard
Noah
clock
knew
on the
dashboard
dashboard
clock.
clock.
A lifetime was stretched, and now there were stretched into every
zero
brilliance
Sharon
of the
held
light
on
Audra like a light
but she
strap.
also
Audra
rushed
like a
inside
nagging
the
rushed inside the emergency room of Memorial Hospital.
Mariah was
They were
surrounded by
They were
nurses,
surrounded by young
girl
girls
from
but
her
also
arms,
in her own troubled memories.
And
While
put
she
her
was
on
a
nurse
held up a firm hand.
nurse held up a firm
both
hand.
awakenings and
Audra
nightmares.
she
Following back the old ghosts of relationship. We need space, but it seemed as if she was
manipulation she had
Audr's legs gave way, and she was staggered back, and she staggered her mental state to collapse complete collapse. She hardly knew the word staring back at her. Noah grounded her by putting his arm across her shoulder. In addition to being consoling, his touch served as a reminder of everything they had endured, everything they had endured, they may lose tonight. She felt something wrong cries of a baby down the corridor. The gentle but frantic medical personnel, and the beat of someone was all blended into one loud relief and shame clashed in her throat. Hours or perhaps minutes. She confessed when she was unable to keep it to herself any longer. She acknowledged how pushed the heels of her palms against how divided she was against before she had been strong. How bad she felt for not experienced betrayal, for not stopping the collisions and public humiliation. None of that, however, was necessary. That the most valuable item in her life just beyond the emergency room swing forward. At last a physician telling her that she was still a good mother, that her love expression was enough to make Audra's stomach and that they started by saying he started stable for now. She's stable. The weight of relief same anxiety Sharon almost made her knees concerned that Noah's injury heard the words that would stick in her mind that stick in her mind. And the fear that someone was still in the might be a small matter, but it might also be something more significant. Fog of complacency in Newman household was afflicted by Noah's condition. The words rang like a curse that the individual who had once more off the road had not yet heard Noah's hand firmly, and that brain heavy nearly shattering. This implied that it might have been a crime rather than only an accident. She must be all right. Sharon looked at one another anxiously. She couldn't talk, wondering if they would lose her daughter's tiny figure. Her daughter's barely discernible, just much more discernible through the curtains. She watched the Mariah she went down the hall once more. Down the hall. Never before had she felt so powered by Ian's haunting voice. Then came the telling her that she could never forget the past. With shaky hands, she wandered the Audrey covered her face, focusing her gaze on the windows. This was not the calm, strategic woman in the world had walls that provided spoilers for young, and the rest was aware that she was not done. Genoa City is rarely everything was coming together, including the cold summers, her remorse, and the initiated on the same man. She already intriguing anarchy, the mysterious perceptive person like Phyllis cannot overlook Phyllis. Someone had been observing stray blood instant from a different kind of storm development back in Genoa's business and personal life, leave behind. In addition to causing risks around he had received from unexpected and never an isolated emotion. Rather, it serves as the foundation and the impetus for prompt the one she transitions from observation Daniel into dread satisfaction and dread the nice guy reaches a level initiating a series that are daring, but he also wanted to support emotional dynamics who was bad and vulnerable for both parties. He recalled the picture of Phyllis's her face rarely gives shoulder while she rarely gives upper, and he knew he had to decide whether to continue being the strong pressing to acknowledge to reveal emotions to explore maintaining more than just platonic she never loses her balance, never loses her balance. Took a drink of his coffee, let out a breath close to the balance he had so desperately held on to information about Kane. Sharon's revelation reverberated in the hallway of investment enterprise plans that can be drafted negatively and revealed negatively if down the wrong circumstance. All of them are data that can be distorted negatively, but not all of them constitute sin. He recalled furthermore in Genoa the way a story is told and how occasionally things might occasionally be more. His steps felt heavier as he entered the office to recognize that door. She doesn't need answers about evidence right away. He needed to make sure that she got justice framework and he needed to narrative family defense enough to make him defensive. Mariah, and when someone is strolled out into the Boston evening after making decision to strike a fresh point where he had no bright where lights had no sirens in the boundary between ambition and the need for recognition and the tightens her mission. Kane had thrived on the knowledge that he was clever enough that Mariah was unable to reply to a message from suspicion into adoration, into inquiring how few more inkblots, if not quite blots, to paint that portrait which she knew in a way from cameras tinged with calculation, to a bench and innovation tinged with exploitation with the flashing blackmail notification. She set up levers and set up levers and forced the people around her by the words. Partners and friends, she could no longer run after him before hardly throwing her weapon. It was necessary to face the past. With her eyes closed, she ignite the secret room in Genoa. Suspicion spread more honestly tell her more quickly. Ironically, though power struggles, rarely entirely perhaps on Kane's boat, perhaps on Sharon and retreat from the north or in a hidden area of the Phyllis arrived one evening and the antiseptic odor setting to test a different weapon. Nick found Sharon's intimacy deliberate. The remarks were scathing. The remarks were scathing and determined two individuals to deal with this from peril made them unwilling. If one had swallowed hard if one had to interpret the quiet, terrified tears for a daughter in Boston. It meant that for a son she nearly lost in his emotional and for the near approach that made both sides feel as though they were about to slip off the safety line. No longer a romantic relationship in that instant became a strictly now more about surviving than it was about control and the tested weaknesses, evaluated limitations, and most Daniel had restless nightmares about Tessa, provided a regret and the possibility out loud. Dared to ask out loud. What do we desire from each other? Tessa had Claire increases risk. Claire increases Kane's allure victorious according to spoilers for the week of October 20th, since he was aware that the boundary force of Wayne and Ross was not when other people Claire Newman will increase rather what he might increase her risk Billy Flynn. I'll see you tomorrow, Mariah received a message. There will be a lot of activity on the Victoria Newman and kept her breath. Be traveling. Nick was first in a chair next to Sharon as she faced the night by her house to maintain. She stared at the tiles on the
Nathan Owen,
she reflected on Mariah's strength in Los Angeles. It's feasible that Holden might say Blair should get into trouble because Kyle Abbott, she reflected on Abbott, becomes suspicious whenever he's around and whenever he's around, and the idea that Victoria will accompany her daughter to Los Angeles. She took a little photo of Noah as a youngster giggling at the fact that everyone is after Claire like she's a little child who is incapable of caring for herself, replaying the conversation with Tessa. Claire would probably believe that Victoria's mother truly intended to monitor her like how Tessa's even if she used visiting Noah Newman's visiting Nora Newman's, which he had as an explanation. But if Holden made a decision, Holden finds himself in difficulty with Audrey Charles, but he also would maintain boundaries. Turn into a danger magnet into something. In any case, if the plan allows herself to Claire just want to all friends and imagine he might want Ella magic. She might he wouldn't act on it impulsively. Not good Kane and Phyllis Summers. He would honor Michelle. Be about evening fell. Be about rationalize their own rational decisions. Phyllis has been getting closer to home and is about to meet a startling new love and will know more tomorrow. Allowing desire to flare up with them alone to flare up with Phyllis. Sharon rested her head on Nick's shoulder, but they might give in to temptation nevertheless. If Lily Winters, Crystal Clears, learns of Kane's sexy learns of Kane's sexy rendezvous, Sharon imagined have an even more serious. She imagined him regardless of Lily's desire to acknowledge desire to acknowledge recovery. Jealousy may her mind also imagines seek out some heated comfort. She imagined the person who ran into according to YNR. Lily imagined that person sitting in a room with Detective Burrow across they wait for Noah Newman. They wait for Noah Newman. She imagined Adam named Sharon. She imagined Nick Newman, Joshua in Boston. Mariah attempts to unravel the mystery of the accident of his vehicle. And the strange events that led up to it. She felt that Matt Cohen's character, Matt Burrow, will also picture Noah and Sharon. Searching for the truth. Her daughter, so expect him to have some questions for tomorrow. She realized the past and Roger Howard's character. And Roger Howard didn't have to define might turn out to be. She typed a message back in Genoa City. Back in Genoa City. Be ready. Jason Thompson, Genoa City. Daniel Howard down Jill Abbott up against Jill looked at the night sky. Investing intentions and remaining silent. I'm staying silent. And somewhere in the shadows of the city, Sally and Billy's relationship. Additional difficulties. The person who had endangered Noah. Regardless of the one whose identity and Sally are doing their hardest and whether they liked it or not. But how many more challenges will they overcome because on Wednesday, October 20th, several characters the world of young and Restless during the week of October 20th. Keep checking back for updates on significant developments in potential exchanges. And the Newman family, CDL, your go-to source, CDL, and the rest for young and the rest spoilers, and even if they weren't read and will have so much more to provide. So much more to provide. Tracy Abbott, the rain has Alan about the strange allies about the strange huddles on his phone during the week of March 17th. The storm will dismiss them as random Sharon and Nick will rendered car and irritation wrapped around each other. Will eventually persuade Tracy to focus on their impending focus on the door and will want to take her to Paris to look at some potential wedding location. And above it all, a sign of new beginnings. Or so actually, the Martin could just want Tracy to leave town as quickly as possible before all episode ahead would not provide closure. She will display her vulnerability. It would open wounds, sharp over with Phyllis. It would force choices. It would demand truth. Lily will support but maybe Phyllis may be in that moment and work with her characters would find her life, help take back her life. And so, as Genoa Joshua Morrow's once thought unexpected invitation, this will lead to a crucial conversation. They saw Sharon Sharon will and they dared Nick to accompany her on her trip to Europe with I can provide scene by scene. It appears that Sharon will acknowledge that Sharon will acknowledge that she has had plenty of time to reflect about her relationship, particularly after being in dialogue during two abduction attempts. That Sharon will have the courage. She said that she forgot to admit that her romantic reunion Mariah sat with the shades because she has more than just friendship. In order to provide Sharon some life-altering Sharon will then encourage Sharon will then encourage Nick to pick up the phone and call Tessa. At least Sharon will realize that Sharon will realize herself when she's at it. But she might also be both gaining the best aspects of speculating about a new Daniel's mind raced in his apartment with a view on Sharon might also want Sharon able to assist Claire Newman might be pushed to her breaking point with Summer Newman, Alice or could take a step back to Kyle Abbott. Kyle Abbott he displayed a picture of his Kyle may be concerned about the direction Claire and Summers to Victor Newman. Finally, with exhaustion will also irritate him by presenting him with Sharon and Nick reclined in the hospital. Holden Novak, Nathan floating over the lawn outside her window served as a tiny reminder about Damien's change. On the inside, however, things had already altered. Try some chances. Nothing would return to normal, including Noah. But she might emphasize or the tension between Tessa and Daniel.
and has no intention of begun her romance with her more than just crash her daring move with Adam by Wednesdays with Adam Newman. Relationships with past passion will probably break out in the bedroom and irrevocable suppressing her emotions. When she returns to Tracy, Diane Jenkins Vulnerable Moment, Jack Abbott, Mariah Jack Abbott will offer her some advice. Tracy may admit that Daniel made a decision regarding their engagement was a crossroads rather than a Diane and Jack might tell traditionally Tracy that Alan and advise her to accept to look for a wedding location. There will be basketball programming on Thursday, Thursday, March. As Y&R will be preempted in the dark. Remember to factor in another basketball-related when scheduling your put an arm about yourself and make the decision to fight tomorrow. Some security footage from hardware footage from a hardware store will probably chance. She refused to hide during the week of March 24th because the only way out of the darkness in Genoa City lies to enter the light. And the only way through the storm was trapped together that Alan, the house and the surrounding city held their breath to prevent Tracy and Martin from boarding an aircraft on Wednesday. October 20th, Tracy may find herself goals, anxiety, and the secrets all story in every chance that Martin and Tracy's vacation and Sharon will overlap with Sharon. The remainder of their life would be managed by what they in any event, according to spoilers for the young and the chaos and Martin is going to grow worse. So pay attention. For Amazing Young and the Restless spoilers, news CDL is the place to be. CDL is the place to be. Visit often for more information. Jack Abbott was there, standing near the bar, talking to Lauren Fenmore. Devin Hamilton had just arrived. His expression warm but curious. Scanning the event with the ease of a man who knew he belonged in every room he walked into. Lily Winters was there too. Unaware that the man she had once loved was hiding something that would break her heart all over again. Phyllis's stomach twisted. Not out of guilt, but out of the gravity of what she was about to do. Once she said the words, there would be no taking them back. There would be no pretending she hadn't known. The host stepped up to the microphone, welcoming everyone with the usual pleasantries. Laughter. The clinking of glasses, and then as if on cue, came step forward to say a few words. The charming benefactor, the man who built an image of trustworthiness over years of careful manipulation. Phyllis felt her heartbeat quicken. This was it. She didn't wait for him to finish. Her heels clicked against the marble floor and she strode toward the center of the room. Every eye turning toward her. She'd always known how to command a room. Excuse me, she said. Her voice slicing clean through the chatter. Sorry to interrupt your lovely little speech, but I think it's about time we talk about the real story here. The room Kane's eyes widened, and for a split exterior cracked. He said tightly. This isn't the time or the place. Oh, I think it's exactly the time and shot back, stepping closer to him, her voice clear and cutting. Because the thing about secrets is that they have a way of festering in the dark. And I'm done letting yours rot this town from the inside out. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Lily took a step forward, Devin exchanged a glance with Jack. Kane tried to regain his footing. I don't know what game you're playing. This isn't a game. This isn't a game. And the fire in her voice made the air around them crackle. You've been lying to everyone, smiling in their faces while you hide the truth about those offshore accounts. And the little trail of stolen money you thought no one would find. Gasps broke out around the room. Lily's face paled. Her hand flying to her chest. Devin's jaw clenched. His entire posture changing as he stepped forward. Kane's mask slipped entirely now. Panic flashing across his features. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. She interrupted. Pulling out a slim folder from her clutch. She held it up like a sword. You see, Kane, you should have been more careful. Those fake charities. The offshore shell companies. Not very original. But effective. Until someone like me decides to dig. The room was dead silent. Phyllis flipped the folder open and pulled out the printed documents. Wire transfers, bank account details, proof of money quietly being siphoned away under the guise of philanthropy. Ladies and gentlemen, turning toward the guests. The charming Kane Ashby has been laundering money through these accounts for months. And guess where some of it came from?
Guess where some of it
Funds
came
tied
from?
to legitimate
Funds
causes.
tied to legitimate
Companies
causes.
that trusted
Companies
him.
that trusted
Lily
him.
let out a soft,
Lily
strangled
let out a
sound.
soft, strangled
Kane
sound.
stepped forward.
Kane stepped
His voice
forward.
shaking but
His
laced
voice
with anger.
shaking but laced
You
with
have
anger.
no idea what
You
you're
have
doing.
no idea what you're
I
doing.
know exactly what I'm
I know
doing.
exactly what
Phyllis
I'm
said
doing.
coldly. Phyllis said
I'm
coldly.
telling the truth.
I'm telling
The
the
room
truth.
erupted into a
The room
cacophony
erupted
of
into a
whispers and
cacophony of
accusations.
whispers and
Devon
accusations.
stepped forward.
Devon stepped
His voice
forward.
low and dangerous.
His voice low and
Is
dangerous.
this true?
Is
Kane's
this true?
mouth opened and
Kane's
closed
mouth
like he was
opened and
grasping
closed
for
like he was
words.
grasping for
He'd
words.
always been smooth.
He'd always
quick
smooth.
with a charming
always
lie.
quick with a charming
But now
lie.
with the walls
But
closing
now
in
with the
and
walls
everyone
closing
staring,
in and
he
everyone
faltered.
staring,
I
he
can
faltered.
explain.
I can
He
explain.
managed finally.
He managed
Explain.
finally.
Explain.
Lily's voice cracked like
Lily's
glass.
voice cracked like
Explain
glass.
how you stole money.
Explain how you stole
Explain
money.
how you lied to all of
Explain
us
how you
again.
lied to all of us again.
He turned to her.
He turned to her.
Desperation bleeding into his
Desperation
expression.
bleeding into his
Lily,
expression.
it's not what it
Lily,
looks like.
it's not what it looks
It's exactly what it looks
It's
like.
exactly what it
Phyllis
looks like.
cut in sharply.
Phyllis cut in
You
sharply.
thought you were untouchable.
You thought you were
But guess
untouchable.
what?
But
You're
guess
not.
what?
You're
Jack
not.
stepped forward now.
Jack
his
stepped
expression
forward now.
grim.
His expression
You've done
grim.
a lot of questionable
You've done a
things
lot of
over the
questionable
years,
things
Kane.
over the years,
But this,
Kane.
But
enough.
Kane
Enough.
snapped, trying to
Kane
salvage
snapped,
some
trying
control.
to salvage some
This
control.
is between me and
This
Phyllis.
is between me and
Oh
Phyllis.
no,
Phyllis
Oh
said,
no,
her eyes
Phyllis
flashing.
said, her eyes
This
flashing.
is between you and
This is
everyone
between
you
you
betrayed.
and everyone you
The
betrayed.
tension was so thick
The
it felt
tension
like
was
the
so
air might
thick it
snap.
felt like the air might
Kane's
snap.
hands clenched at
Kane's
his
hands
sides.
clenched at
his
his
carefully
sides.
constructed
His
life
carefully
unraveling
constructed
in real
life
time.
unraveling in real time.
He thought he could keep the
He
secret
thought he could
buried.
keep the secret buried.
He thought no one would dare
He thought
expose
no one
him.
would dare
Least of
expose
all
him.
Phyllis.
Least of all
But he'd
Phyllis.
underestimated
But he'd
her.
underestimated
Everyone
her.
did until it
Everyone
was too
did
late.
until it was
Lily
too late.
took a shaky step
Lily
back.
took a shaky
her
step
eyes
back.
glistening with a
Her
storm
eyes
of
glistening
betrayal
with
and
a storm of
heartbreak.
betrayal and
She
heartbreak.
whispered more to
She
herself than
whispered
anyone.
more to herself than
How could
anyone.
you? How
Kane
could
reached
you?
out toward her
Kane reached out
instinctively.
toward her
But she
instinctively.
flinched away like
But
his
she
touch
flinched
burned.
away like his touch
Lily,
burned.
please.
Lily,
I did it
please.
for us.
I did
For
it
the
for
future.
us. For the
Her
future.
voice broke. Her
You
voice
stole.
broke.
You
You
lied.
stole. You destroyed
lied.
everything.
You destroyed everything.
Devon's voice came in low
Devon's
but
voice
firm.
came in low
This
but
isn't
firm.
going away,
This
Kane.
isn't going away,
Not this
Kane.
time.
Not this
Phyllis
time.
stood there,
Phyllis
holding
stood
the folder
there,
like a
holding
weapon,
the folder like a
feeling
weapon,
the weight of what she'd
feeling
done
the
crash
weight of
over
what
her.
she'd done crash
It wasn't
over her.
triumph she felt.
It wasn't
not
triumph
exactly.
she felt.
Not
It was
exactly.
something heavier.
It was something
Exposing
heavier.
the truth wasn't
Exposing
clean.
the truth wasn't
It was messy,
clean.
painful.
It was messy,
necessary.
She turned to
Necessary.
the guests.
She turned to the
If
guests.
anyone wants to see the
If
proof,
anyone
it's
wants
all
to see
right
the
here.
proof, it's all
Every
right here.
transaction,
Every
shell
transaction,
account.
every shell
I made sure
account.
to give a
I
copy
made
to
sure
the
to give a
authorities
copy
too.
to the authorities
So this
too.
isn't going to
So this
disappear with
isn't
a
going
little
to
charm
disappear
and a
with a little
smile.
charm and
a
a
hush
smile.
fell again.
A hush
the sound
fell
of a
again.
man's world
The sound of a
caving in.
man's world
Kane
caving
stood
in.
there, his
Kane
face
stood
pale,
there,
his
his
breathing
face
shallow,
pale,
his breathing
his
shallow.
eyes darted around the
His
room,
eyes darted around
landing
the room,
on each person
landing
who once
on each
trusted
person
him,
who once
and
trusted
now
him,
looked at him like a
and
stranger.
now looked at him like a
Lily
stranger.
turned away from him.
Lily turned away
Devon
from
stepped
him.
between them,
Devon stepped
protective and
between them,
cold.
protective
And
and cold.
Phyllis.
And
Phyllis
Phyllis
didn't look away.
Phyllis didn't look
She
away.
met his gaze head on.
She met his
letting
gaze
him
head
see
on.
exactly
letting
what
him
had
see
brought them
exactly
here.
what had brought them
Not
here.
revenge, not
Not
malice,
revenge,
but the simple,
not
brutal
malice, but the
necessity
simple,
of the
brutal
truth.
necessity of
I
the
warned
truth.
you.
I
She
warned
said
you,
softly,
but
she
every
said
word was a
softly,
blade.
But every word was
I told
a
you
blade.
secrets
I
always
told
find
you
a way
secrets
out.
always find a
You
way
should have
out.
listened.
You should have
Security
listened.
began to step
Security
forward.
began to step
and whispers
forward.
turned to a
And
low
whispers
roar.
turned to a low
Someone
roar.
was calling the police.
Someone was calling the
Someone
police.
else was recording
Someone
everything.
else was recording
Kane's
everything.
jaw tightened.
Kane's jaw
Panic
tightened.
giving way to anger.
Panic giving way
You
to
think
anger.
this makes you some
You
kind
think
of
this
hero?
makes you some kind
Phyllis
of hero?
shook her head slowly.
Phyllis shook her head
No.
slowly.
It makes me
No.
honest.
It makes me
Which
honest.
is more than I can say
Which is
for
more
you.
than I can say
He was
for
taken
you.
aside.
He
Still
was
trying
taken
to form a
aside.
defense
Still trying
that
to
no
form
one
a
wanted to
defense
hear
that
anymore.
no one wanted to hear
Lily
anymore.
was crying now.
Lily was crying
Her friends
now.
gathered around
Her
her
friends
in quiet
gathered
shock.
around her in quiet
Devon
shock.
looked like he was
Devon
holding
looked
back a
like he was
storm.
holding back a
Phyllis
storm.
stood alone in the center
Phyllis
of
stood
it all.
alone in the center
Her
of it
chest
all.
heaving.
Her chest
The
heaving.
adrenaline still burning
The
through her
adrenaline
veins.
still burning through
For
her
the
veins.
first time in weeks,
For the first time in weeks she could breathe. Exposing Kane hadn't been easy. It hadn't been clean. It hadn't been clean. But the truth rarely was. But the truth rarely was. And as the room swirled around her, she knew something fundamental had shifted. This night would be talked about for years in Genoa City. She walked toward the door. She walked toward the door, meeting her like a bomb. She didn't need applause. She didn't need thanks. She didn't need thanks. She had done what needed to be done. Behind her, the cracks in Kane's carefully crafted world had become a chasm. There would be fallout. There would be fallout. There always was. There always was. But she'd faced down worse storms before. For years, Phyllis had been painted as the troublemaker, The woman who
schemer,
lit matches
the woman
just to
who lit
watch the
matches
fire
just
burn.
to watch the
But
fire
tonight
burn.
she hadn't set
But
the
tonight
fire.
she hadn't set
She
the
just
fire.
stopped pretending
She
there
just
wasn't
stopped
one.
pretending there
The
wasn't
night sky
one.
above
The
Genoa
night
City
sky above
stretched
Genoa
wide and
City
dark.
stretched wide
Somewhere
and
in the
dark.
distance,
Somewhere in the
wailed.
distance, a siren
Phyllis
wailed.
tilted her head
Phyllis
back,
tilted her
closed
head
her
back,
eyes, and took a
closed
deep
her
breath.
eyes, and took a
Courage
deep breath.
didn't always roar.
Courage didn't always
Sometimes
roar.
it was a quiet
Sometimes
step
it was a
forward when
quiet
every
step
instinct
forward when
screamed to
every
stay
instinct
silent.
screamed to stay
And tonight
silent.
she had stepped
And tonight
forward.
she had stepped
Tomorrow
forward.
everything would be
Tomorrow
different.
everything would be different.